If this is your first time here, make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on your notification, and give us the thumbs up. Welcome everyone to another video. We are going to demonstrate how we can achieve remote access to our control system network. In my example here, I'm going to demonstrate how we can do remote access to an NJ PLC as well as an NA HMI using VPN connection and using this recommended architecture. Now, as you can see here, there's a few advantages of doing remote access this way, which I'm going to be sharing with you in a moment here. So in the remote network or the remote site, we have a PLC and HMI, perhaps some other control devices as well, in this local control network, which is the 192.168.250. And then we have here this basically PC, or it could be an IPC, that basically will host the programming software that we would need for our control devices. In our case, we're going to have in this computer here, for example, SystemX Studio, which will be required to do remote programming and remote monitoring for your PLC and HMI, as well as we're going to have a VNC viewer to do, for example, remote monitoring and viewing of your HMI application from this computer remotely. And also, if you notice here, on this computer, we have to make sure that we have at least 2 Ethernet ports. Now, the reason for that, so we don't, when we do remote access to this network, we don't bother the remote control system network. And then that way we're going to have the traffic for remote access is segregated from the local control network, because you don't want that traffic to be mixed with your control network, which is more important than your remote access traffic. So that's the reason for those 2 ports and doing it that way. And then also we are using VPN, which is more secured than using other methods like port forwarding, which will be not recommended at all. Now, even with this protocol we picked, which is the PPTP, the reason I picked this for the as VPN protocol, because it's the simplest one to configure. But the disadvantage of this protocol is less secure than other VPN protocols that you could set, but is more secure than other methods like port forwarding, as we mentioned. So this will be, a recommended architecture to do remote access to your control system network. Now, the way we're gonna go through this demonstration, we kind of split that in 3 parts. So in part 1, we're gonna set up our IP addresses for our remote control network, as well as our remote access computer. So we're gonna make sure all these IP addresses are set and we can ping all these devices. And then in part 2, we are gonna set up our router/VPN server, and we're going to see how we're going to do that. Now, in this part 2, depending on the device you pick, the setting is going to be different. In my case, I'm using an Edge Router X, so you're going to see that in the setting, and that's why the setting is like that. But in your case, this could be different. And then in part 3, we're going to set up the VPN client from basically the computer we use to do the remote access to this network in here. So let's start. So the first thing I'm going to set up this port for my computer here. So I'm going to access that from my control panel, network, and network and sharing, and I'm going to go to change adapter settings. Now, I have two connections in this computer that I'm going to be using. So this one here, and then this one here. So just for ease of use, we're going to rename these so we know which one we're using. So I'm going to call this remote access connection. And like we said here, so this will be our port 1. So we're going to give it this IP address, 192.168.2.10. So we're going to set up that in here. So we'll change this to 2, and change this to 10. Now here it's very important that we set up also the gateway. That way when we try to access this and the traffic is going back and forth, then this computer knows where to route that traffic. If we don't set up the gateway, then this is going to be successful. So in our case, it's 2 and not 1. Then we'll say OK. And then the other one we want to set is also the second connection, which is this one, which is basically this one. Before doing that, I'm going to also rename this and call it local control network. And then open that. We're going to set up the IP to 192.168.250.3.255.255, and then we don't need to set up the gateway in here because this is just local, our local network to talk to our PLC and HMI, or our bridge to those two from this computer. So now that is set. The IP addresses for the PLC and HMI by default off the box or out of the box, they came with these IP addresses, so there's nothing to set in there. But one other step in here is we want to make sure that we can ping all these devices from this computer. The command prompt, and then we're going to ping all devices here. So I'm going to make sure I can ping my PLC. As you can see here, I can ping it successfully, and then I'm going to make sure I'm pinging my HMI. So as you can see here, I can ping my PLC and HMI, and my IP address is set for remote access as well. It's also ready, and my local network device or port is also set. So I'm going to exit from here. So this will conclude basically part 1.
If you made it this far, make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on your notification and give us the thumbs up. And again, thank you for watching.